My name is Brandon, and this is my testimony. Around high school, I was diagnosed with severe depression, anxiety, anger, bipolar disorder, all the things. Struggled with suicide for like 12 years straight every single day. I would sleep with a knife under my pillow because when life felt out of control, this is the one thing that made me feel in control. Fast forward to 2019, I get a call that my dad had passed unexpectedly. He had just gotten off his night shift at work and walked to his car. And I guess when he sat down, he had an ulcer that ruptured, and someone parked by him the next morning and saw that he was dead. That made me very angry and confused. I didn't know how to handle that situation. I suppressed all of my emotions, kept everything in for a long time. I realized after a while I needed an outlet, and that outlet for me was TikTok. I started posting and somehow got about 1 million followers. I was averaging almost 1 million views per video and getting great brand deals, all the things. But I realized that it was changing who I was. It changed my entire personality. It changed my entire identity. I bleached my hair blonde. I was wearing women's earrings. I had my nails painted. And to be honest, it just feminized me because that's what was cool at the time. And I was just seeking, man. I was seeking for answers. And in the meantime, I came across this guy named Muji Baba on YouTube. He was a Jamaican spiritual monk, and he would hold these gatherings called satsangs, where he would teach his lessons on life. He taught a lot about how we are one with the universe. And at the time, this just felt so right. It felt so true. I was like, man, this is the answer. I finally found it. But that led me down a spiritual journey where I also learned about reincarnation, nirvana, collective consciousness. And then it got kind of dark. I learned how to astral project out of my body. I would do spirit seeking. So I would go to cemeteries and talk to spirits. I would let them possess my body and use my body. My friends have seen me levitate. They've seen my eyes turn black. They have seen my face morph and change. All of this made me feel very powerful and very gifted, but I was still suicidal. I was still angry. I was still dealing with all the same things. It came to a point where nothing seemed real to me anymore. I thought we just existed. I didn't want anything to do with anybody. I hated everything, especially Christianity. I did not like the God of Christianity. I did not like the Bible. I wanted nothing to do with it. I came to a point where I claimed that I was an atheist. 2022, my wife and I just moved here to Kansas City, and all of this pent-up anger is just building up since my dad passed. And the only person around that I'm able to take it out on is my wife. Things never got physical, but everything was always about me. I was very defensive. And she sat me down and told me she wanted a divorce. She said she had already told her family. She'd set a date for us to move out, move apart. She wouldn't look at me, didn't talk to me. She slept in a different room. And to be honest, I didn't know what to do. I was lost, I was confused. I didn't know where to turn. And so I called 2 of my friends back home, my best friends. One was an atheist. And I remember calling him and I just told him what's going on. And he's like, you know, man, sometimes sometimes the marriages don't work out, and you guys will go your separate ways, everything will be just fine. And in a way that made me feel better. And I called my other friend who is a youth pastor and told him what was happening. He said something that honestly changed my life forever. He said, "It's not me that you need to be telling this to, it's God." I just started crying. I felt a conviction that I've never felt before. The only guy I knew here in Kansas City was my neighbor. I met him at the bank. His name was Pastor Angel. And I knew he went to church. So I decided to text him and ask if I could come to church with him that next Sunday. And I was nervous, but I showed up, and he sat in the back with me, in the back row. And I remember the service was about treating your wife like Christ treats his bride. And I just felt like God was speaking directly to me. I remember my heart was pounding, and at the very end, they were doing an altar call. And immediately I got up, and I was in tears walking up there, but Pastor Angel was with me. When I gave my life to Jesus that morning, it's gonna sound so cliche, but I have not had a single thought of suicide since that day. I've not had a single moment of rage. I think it took literally like 3 or 4 weeks before my wife decided to come to church with me, and she gave her life to Christ. Jesus completely transforms my life.